Ladies and gentlemen, we are the Phelps High School Ecip team, and our business is called House of Hope. In our community, located in easternmost Pike County, we have a problem.
A homeless problem.
This is where we come in. I'm Emma Turner, this is Kiera Lane, Noah Staggs, Ethan Wolford, and Austin Wolford. Until recently, we would have focused on another business opportunity or service, but something has changed in our area that quite simply has us all worried.
People are constantly walking the roads, living in tent communities, and find their way into abandoned houses. All of these are something that we'd rarely see in our community until now.
This brings us to our business, House of Hope. Using a former hardware store, we plan to provide a wide variety of services to help those in need. This nonprofit service will provide a place to stay while our caring staff members try to give a hand up instead of a hand out. Here recently, Phelps has been having an increase in our homeless population. Anytime you drive down the road or go anywhere in Phelps, you will see people walking the streets and just all they have on their back is backpacks. Most of them don't even have jackets, and in this harsh winter, I just hate to see people not have the means to, all they have is a backpack. It hurts my heart, and it hurts everyone else's heart, and we want to do something about this. There is a situation, one of our teachers actually informed us this week that there is a man that has broke apart cinder block, and he lives behind our local gas station, and he has nothing to keep him warm. He's trying his best to stay warm in this weather, but it's hard. It is really hard. This is what we plan to use as our shelter. We've actually talked to the owner, and he is all on board for this idea. He definitely agrees with us that we need to fix this issue. We want to provide a place for food and shelter for up to 20 individuals. We can provide for 10 male and 10 female at any given time with 2 rooms for the families. And for one of the conditions is that he wants us to paint it and try to fix it up some, and he wants us to do any cosmetic changes that needs to take place.
All right, here's a few examples of startup costs for our facility. From Home Depot, the basic bunk beds would be around $176, and twin mattresses would be around $80 from Walmart. And here's a better look at some of our startup costs. It says around $10,000, but with the help of donations, we can bring that price down. And some more ways we can reduce our initial startup price. We would We plan to apply for multiple federal and state grants addressing homeless shelters. The links for these grants can be found on our website, which we will show you shortly. We plan to cast a wide net for donations. That means we will go on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook asking for donations, and with our community, we know we can trust in them. We would like to look at the possibility of having the Phelps High School carpentry class build our bunk bed frames out of wood if it is cost efficient. They love helping out our community, and I know they would be glad to do it.
How we plan to do it. We will need complete community support or buy-in and hopefully help from our local government. We plan to apply to any and all state and federal grants that we can find. We realize that we may not get all the grants that we apply for, but we're for sure not going to get them if we don't apply for them in the first place. We'll also be seeking help from our community, such as local churches, local businesses. In the past, we have seen we've been in awe about how much our businesses and communities have backed us up in, whether it be our school, any fundraisers or anything. We had a local businessman that runs a pharmacy donate $21,000 to our high school so no student has to pay to get into any sporting events for the next 3 years. Also, we have a former Phelps resident spend, I believe it was a couple $1 million to build this community center that's absolutely amazing, has any games that you want to play or do, and it's an absolute outstanding privilege to have it in Phelps.
Also, to make this project possible, we will need help from all of our churches. You know, to be such a small community, we have so many churches. Up here, we have just listed 20 of the ones local to us. We ask that they help us every month, maybe $1,000 a month, and if that's not possible, I mean, even if half of them do that, that would be, I think, an efficient amount of funds. But I know that our project, we're asking like a lot from our community, but we have such a tight-knitted community. It's just anytime there's a problem or anytime that we need help doing something, they are always there to back us up. And I know the people in our community, as nice as they are, they will help us with our cause.
We have 3 goals here for our main goals. Goal 1, to obtain the funds needed to start our nonprofit. Goal 2, to get the buy-in from the community and local churches. And goal 3, to give a hand up to the people we serve.
I mean, with any business, there is always going to be liabilities. That is why we have made waivers so that everyone knows everyone knows what's required of us and what they need to do to stay in our facilities. We are an absolute, we cannot deal with drug use, and we've clearly stated that in our waivers, that is just above us. That is not what we are for. We want to provide food and shelter. We cannot handle, drug use in our facilities. And here's a picture of the waiver that we handed out, but if you guys want to take a look at those.
This is our website and application form. First, we'll start with our website and show you how that works. As you can see here, we have, hold on. I have no idea what happened. Yeah.
Sorry.
All right. So as you can see here, we have some photos of people walking the streets or some of the abandoned houses that people have been living in. This is our application. We will check it out. Apologies. Okay, so here you can put your name, email if possible, gender, salary if possible, and by signing below you agree to be drug-free and make sure there's no drugs so that you don't get We have a list of churches that will help us out, and this just kind of sums up what we've been saying this entire time about different houses that people have been crawling in and out of and how harsh their winters will be.
A known saying is a picture is worth 1,000 words. Pictured below is a house that an old elderly couple used to stay in. It is known throughout the students and people in our community that people have been seen climbing in and out of the windows of this house. It's very sad to think that an old elderly home has turned into a place that people need just to stay warm. Pictured below is a picture of Boykin Bridge that connects Pike County to Mingo County. Underneath this bridge, it is seen that people have been staying with campfires lit with 6 to 7 tents located there. It is a very sad thought that people are having to stay in the trees and underneath this bridge to even get warmth throughout the winter. Thank you.
There was 2 more slides.
It's okay. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you for addressing such an important issue and addressing a real need in the community. You've thought through this a lot. To be in high school, to think through the liability waivers and the connections and the partnerships and how to do it, that's a really good job. Have you looked at other? Right, running a homeless shelter is a lot, liability regulations, all those pieces. Have you looked at other partners or other people who run or manage homeless shelters to learn kind of best practices? And I think you talked about some of your risks, but talk to me a little bit about that. Have you looked at the competition, or I wouldn't say competition, but other people who are doing this work, kind of experts in it?
I mean, if we do have any competition in the foreseeable future, I mean, we welcome it.
Right.
I mean,
And that's
anybody
probably
who
the
can,
wrong word, competition, but rather, another provider of homeless shelter, someone who does this. Have you looked at kind of best practices, maybe, I guess is a better word?
I'm not gonna lie, we haven't really looked that far into it just yet.
Okay, that's incredible that you did as much as you did without, like, you developed a lot of things along that direction. The other thing I would just encourage you to think about is that this is so when we think about entrepreneurship and the SOAR blueprint and big picture of what we hope this program does, one is that it creates a business that creates jobs that help solve that problem so there's not homelessness. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So as you're thinking about this, you're solving homelessness in Phelps, but if you could do it in a way that this could be replicated, so that there might be another community where you've developed it's almost like a franchise type thing. If there was a group of churches in another community who wanted to come together and try to, that it could be something you sell all across the country. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes. I hope that we can influence others. I really do. Because
Yeah.
I think it's a great thing, and I definitely think that we need it in our area, and I'm sure other areas need it too.
So I would love, as you go through this, that you dream about it that way. Not only are we going to solve this in Phelps, but we're learning how to do this so that we could potentially put together a program that would help another community. And imagine if your headquarters was in Phelps, right? And eventually you're employing people that are helping people all over the country address this. Just a thought.
Growing up and living here, this is something you really never saw 10 years ago. Today, we could drive around to just about any bridge here in the city, and there's a encampment of people living under it. And I have friends in Phelps that have expressed this same issue there. A couple things. One, I would encourage you that if you want to go ahead and start hitting the ground running, doing some things, I'm a Rotarian here in Pikeville, and we have partnered with the church, with a church or two here in town, and we actually have these little packs, little gift bags for homeless that contains like a blanket, gloves, toboggan, some dry food snacks. So I would encourage you to get with, if you want to go ahead and start doing some of those things over there, I think it'd be fantastic, you know. Of course, a lot of people that are homeless and are wandering around over there are unfortunately are addicted to drugs, right? So I think that would be an important management piece, you know, in having a shelter. I don't know how, you know, would you have stay limits for people where they, you know what I'm saying, they just couldn't use it like a you know, like a permanent residence, and number one, and number two, you know, would the come and go, how would that work, you know, with the drug issues, with, you know, you I know you saying they have to pledge not to have drug use there, you know, but how would you have any control over them leaving during the day and doing all the drug use and then coming back still wasted at night? I mean, have you thought about those things?
Well, to answer I guess it was your first question about the permanent or temporary stay, if this makes sense, it would be a merger of both. It would be temporary while we help them, you know, have a roof under their head, and, you know, find a job and get them out about in the workforce so they can get back up on their own feet and eventually move out. And then with the drug uses outside of our facility, there's not really a way to find out what they're doing outside. Maybe later on down the line, once we accumulate funds and get everything running, we possibly could drug test them once a month or so. But as of right now, we just wouldn't have a way to do that.
The only way we would be able to tell is if you could visibly see, like, you know, maybe something's going on, maybe they're taking stuff, and then we would politely ask them to leave, because that is just not in our ability to handle drugs.
One last thing, do you have any idea the number of homeless people currently in the Phelps community?
Even since our last presentation, I've seen new faces in Phelps. Like, I drove up the road the other day, I saw 6 new people I had never seen before. So the numbers just keep increasing. So we don't have an exact number, but I know the numbers keep going up, probably daily.
I greatly admire you for your ambition and your work and what you've done so far. And it's exciting to think that young people are looking at this and actually working on it. That's wonderful. So one of the questions I had was just, do you know what's causing this? And I don't mean to take up a lot of time on that issue, because I know it's really a nationwide issue. But do you know, I guess a lot of it has to do with drug abuse and alcoholism?
Well, I know ever since COVID and prices started to raise, it made people probably not be able to afford stuff like that, besides, you know, drug issues. But my uncle, he works in a doctor's office in Phelps, and this is the weirdest thing ever, but he was asking them, like, where'd they come from, like, what brings you here, and every answer he has gotten, it said that they've pointed at a map and X marks the spot. Every one of them. So we don't really know what's causing this issue. It's a reoccurring, more people weekly.
Yeah. That sounds complicated, which I think the issue is, yeah. But I think maybe Jared was the one who said talk to others. Someone mentioned that earlier. Talking to other shelters and finding out what are the challenges they have, what are the solutions they've come up with. You know, how do you do this? How much does it cost? Just ask them a million questions and try to find out as much as you can, especially ones that would be like yours, that if you're planning on 20, look for shelters that handle 20 people, and look for shelters that are nearby, and look for shelters shelters that deal with these drug and alcoholism issues and just ask them a million questions and see what they say, see what they wish they could do differently. I think that would be, an incredible way to gather information. And I think it was clarified that they wouldn't be competition. I think that would absolutely be true. They would not be competition. They would be collaborators. They would probably be excited that you were going to set up your shelter. It would maybe alleviate some of their pressure. And then I know there are also some shelters where I live in northern Kentucky. A friend of mine runs one, an emergency shelter, and that woman is very, very good, and she has a lot of knowledge about how to run that shelter. So that's another idea, is reaching out to people even outside of this area. And then finally, just a real quick suggestion, is the idea of collaborating with other students on their projects. Maybe there are some students who are working on an entrepreneurial idea related to healthcare or related to drug abuse. I've seen some of that in earlier competitions here last year, and I don't know how far that could go, but collaborating with other students on their ideas might better inform their project, and their project might better inform your project. And maybe you would even see a case where, hey, we should join our projects together, and now there's 10 of us working on this. So that's just a thought too. But thank you for working on this, and thank you for your hard work and your hard thinking. The world needs it.
I'm going to reiterate, thank you for having the passion and compassion for these people. They all deserve, a chance to have a helping hand on that. One thing that I do know about Eastern Kentucky is that it is a force to be reckoned with. There are community people and, businesses all around Eastern Kentucky that's willing to join you to help, make this a successful endeavor. None of us want to have homeless people out there in the cold, especially this time of year. One of the things that I'm kind of curious about, have you thought about reaching out to some of the services that are out there to help educate them? Because obviously this is a temporary situation for them. They can't live there permanently. So what resources can you gather from the community and other agencies that are out there to help them step up and get the confidence they need to rehabilitate their lives and be able to be self-sufficient?
Across from the building, there is actually the public library in Phelps that has 1 million computers. I mean, they're all around the walls, and there's books. We plan to get them in there after they have recovered and get them into the workforce in Phelps, hopefully, or around the surrounding areas.
And do you all have some form of method to reach out to these homeless people to make them aware of your facility? Will somebody be going out to some of these homeless camps to give them education materials to help them know what's available for them to take advantage of your resources?
We had thought about the idea of sending out 2 to 3 people at a time to different major camps in the area, such as people camping under the bridges or stuff like that, and handing out these flyers and explaining what our program is and that we're here to help them, not hurt them. Because a lot of them are like skittish around a lot of people that they don't know because they think they're going to try and take their stuff away from them. And we're just here to help them, not hurt them.
I just have one more comment. You all did a great job, very thorough. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
I'll be brief as well. Likewise, you guys did a terrific job actually putting pen to paper and sketching out a business plan around a community problem. And you should be commended for that. It's very clear. I think that many of the barriers we're asking you about are things beyond your control. But I would encourage you, as others have, to really investigate with others who are in the space of supporting the homeless to understand how you can improve your plan. There's a woman from the Hazard area who I believe is running the Homelessness Coalition for the state. Her name is Adrienne Bush, and she may have some additional information as to why folks are arriving in Phelps and information to strengthen your plan. Kudos.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think you did well communicating your strategy and what your efforts are here, and most of the questions have been asked now. So I just have an idea for you all. I've spent a lot of time thinking about this too, and with systemic problems that are really deep, we might not be able to solve some type of, mental disability or drug addiction per se. But I think if you look at like the core problem here in cases that are outside of these typical service paths, it's like, what does somebody need? They need a place to sleep that's safe. It needs to be warm or climate controlled, and then they need like access to water for shower, right? And then you have to sterilize that. Like if you look at any of these temp encampments in like major cities, that ends up becoming a public health concern, and they, clear them out, and there's disease outbreak and this kind of thing. So I wondered, have you ever seen like these capsule hotels in Asia before? The idea of, and to speak to like Jared's idea of something that could be scalable, could we create just like a trailer with 10 pods on it that you could put a quarter in to go inside of to sleep safely, that would sort of like self-sterilize and had like a same kind of component on the back for like showers or something. And then that wouldn't have to be staffed, so you wouldn't have as much expenses. You just have the initial cost to kind of like start the thing up and then add the water and electric service. So just another approach. If the folks can't be helped, then is there a way to keep them safe and give them the basic resources they need to sort of feel human? So another idea. Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.